guys, so today I am finally doing my how I clean up around my nails video. This was actually really hard to film. It was really hard to clean up properly at this weird angles. So I know this has been requested a lot and I'm sorry it's taken me so long to get it done, but I hope you guys enjoy this one and on to how I clean up. So when I do my cleanup, I do use 100% acetone. I get these big giant jugs from Sally's. I go through these really slowly because I only use like one little cup at a time, and I only use pure acetone for actually cleaning up my nail line. I don't like to use it for taking off my nail polish because it is too harsh and my nails tend to break really easily if I use this too often for like regular nail polish or for removing glitter. So I just put my acetone in a little glass jar like this. I don't like it to go right out of the bottle, and I don't like to put it in the cap because acetone does evaporate really fast, and if I pour it into the cap then I can't have the cap on the bottle and the bottle will evaporate on me. So it will save acetone in the long run and save you money if you get a little jar like this or just have a little container to put the acetone in rather than scooping it out of the jar or pouring it into the cap, because you do want to always keep your nail polish removers capped because they evaporate so quickly. And the brush that I like to use is from e.l.f. This is their concealer brush from their $1 line. I've been using this for years and years. I have tried the Sonia Kashuk one. I actually had to get it in an emergency recently. I don't think it's really any different than the e.l.f. one, in my opinion, and this one is cheaper. I get these at Target usually. My Target's always sold out, so I just bought a bunch of these from the e.l.f. website. I'll show you what my old one looks like. These, they look pretty rough after a while, but they're good until the bristles start to kind of, eventually the bristles will start to like melt and they'll get short, but this is one that's, seen better days, but it is still completely functional. These can last a really long time. I've had them eat away really fast on me, but the majority of the time they've lasted, probably a good few months before I've actually had to replace them. So I know a lot of people have different preferences with these, but I've never had any problem with the e.l.f. ones. So the first thing I want to show you guys is how to kind of paint your nails to avoid getting a lot of mess in the first place. This is something that takes a lot of practice. I have a video from a really long time ago about how I do that. It's pretty much the same thing. It was probably a terrible video. I haven't watched it in a long time, but it's pretty much the same idea. So this polish is from Essie. This is Sweet Retreat from their resort collection for this year. Basically, you want to get close to your cuticle without actually flooding it. So you want to set your brush down kind of in the middle and then push back towards the cuticle and then drag out. And then start back in the middle and move over, kind of sweep over from one side to the other. And then you can smooth out any ridges or streaks from there. It is really important to make sure that the hand that you're painting is sitting on a flat surface as well as the hand that's holding the brush, and that's going to help you keep it steady enough to keep your lines clean as well. So what I'm going to do here is I am going to flood my cuticle a little bit so I can show you guys how to take care of that if it happens. So if you get polish on your cuticle like this, it's really important to try to clean it up right away. So what I like to do is kind of curl my hand and face it towards me. So it'll be something like this. Don't mind my tear on my thumbnail. And I'll take my brush with my acetone in it. I'm going to try not to block out the lens. And I will kind of try to scoop the polish out of my cuticle area with the brush from this angle. It's a lot easier to do when it's wet. So if you do flood your cuticle, you want to take care of it right away. Now for the rest of the cleanup, which is really just going to be straightening the line around my cuticle, the best thing you can do is actually wait for the polish to completely dry before you put your top coat on. You can clean it up when it's wet or when it's starting to dry, but what can end up happening is you will smear the polish, or the top layer will have dried and the bottom won't, and when you pull it, you'll create wrinkles in the polish, or you can flood it, all the way into the sidewalls of your nail, which especially with blues is really hard to clean up. So what I like to do, if I'm going to do like a real good cuticle cleanup, is let my polish completely dry. Before I put my top coat on, I do my cleanup, because there's really, you don't want to have to scoop top coat around you. That's just preference. It's just easier for me rather than having to clean up the top coat as well. So I'm going to let these dry and then we'll come back and do the lines. I dip my brush into the acetone and I try to only dip the ends of the bristles in rather than just dunking the whole brush. I don't want it to get too far back and loosen the glue. And if you dip just the end of the bristles in, the rest of the bristles will soak it up. So I do that, and then I also tend to kind of wipe it off on the side of the jar. And even then, a lot of the time I will kind of touch the brush to a towel or something to get the rest of the acetone off. You don't want this sopping wet, because when you touch it to your cuticle, the acetone is going to flood all the way through your whole cuticle, and that can mess up your polish, and it's really not necessary to have that much. I just like to go in and try to straighten these lines out as best as possible. It's really just about going slow and being careful. Try to stay more on your skin. You kind of want to pull, I don't know, I guess towards your skin slightly so that you're not pushing into the polish. Then I also like to make sure that the sides are straight as well. And that's really it. There's not much to it. It just takes some practice. You also want to make sure that you're kind of wiping your brush off on the side of the jar and cleaning what polish you have picked up off fairly often. Because if you leave like the blue smear on the brush, eventually it's going to be smearing blue all over the place. This is very hard to do on camera. I always try not to take too much off because I don't want to be like a mile away from my cuticle, but sometimes I end up doing it, especially today because I am at a really weird angle for the camera, but even when I'm not at a weird angle, I do tend to take way too much off. But that's, again, something that just comes with practice. So after your top coat and everything is dry, it's really important to moisturize your cuticles because the acetone is very, very drying. You can see that my skin's kind of white around the outsides there. And the one that I've been using is the California Mango from Sally's Beauty Supply. This smells really, really good, and it works really good as well. So I'm just going to put a little tiny bit of this at each cuticle. And just rub that in. You can put it on there, let it sit for a little while, let it really soak in, and then rub it in, or you can just rub it right in and go. But it is really important to moisturize, especially after doing cleanup like that. So that is how I clean up my nails. I hope this was helpful. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I will talk to you later.